In this video, we're working on a 1998 to 2010 Volkswagen Beetle. We're going to be replacing the passenger side front CV shaft. It's located right on the passenger side. Let's get into it. You should have a little cap right here. You want to pop that off. You can use the straight blade screwdriver. Pop that off. This vehicle doesn't have that. Then you want to go grab that hook right in the hole right there and just pull it straight out. It's just clipped on right in the middle there. It pops right off. Now you can access the lug nuts. Take the wheel lock key, find which one is the wheel lock. Using a 17mm socket, take that out. And go around, take the other lug nuts off. Before we take the last one off, I'm just going to hold the wheel on so it doesn't fall. Take that off, and then take the wheel off. We're going to take the axle nut off. Use a 30mm socket. It needs to be a 12-point. Take that off. You want to make sure you separate the axle from the hub. You can try pushing it. Just going to take a punch and a hammer. Just try to separate the axle from the hub. Just want to make sure it moves. There we go. Now we're going to take these 3 bolts out using a 13mm socket. And there's this little plate on top that holds the nuts. Take that off. We're going to take the bottom bolt out for the sway bar link using a 16mm socket. And you can slide this up out of the way. Now just pry the lower ball joint out of the lower control arm. You should be able to tip it down a little bit. Using a pry bar, just pry the axle out. And slide it out of the way. Now we're going to take this screw out. I'm going to take this panel out to get it out of the way using a T25 socket. If you have another panel underneath here, you want to remove that. This vehicle does not. Now just using a trim tool, I'm just going to pop these fasteners off. Just pry down on those. There's another one right here. And slide this down. I'm going to take the axle bolts out right here. You're going to use a triple square socket. This one is a M10 triple square. Get that lined up. To prevent the axle from spinning, I'm going to put a screwdriver in between the fins on the rotor, and then where the caliper bracket is, that's going to prevent the rotor from spinning, and that'll stop the axle from moving. Then I can loosen that up. And take that out. And do the same with the other bolts. And the last one. Just make sure you support the axle when you go to take the last bolt out. And it just slides right out. Now just slide the new axle shaft in place and just get one of the bolts started. There we go. And then if you can twist it, or if it's easier, just turn the rotor on the other side, or the wheel. And put the rest of the bolts in. Now we're going to go snug these up. You want to cross snug them up. So do a couple on this side and then a couple on the other side. So just like tightening a tire down, you want to start on one side, go to the other, and then cross to the other. Now we're going to torque these bolts to 30 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. So starting with this side and then alternate to the opposite side, just like, again, like tightening down a wheel. Just so I can keep track of this, I'm just going to mark this one. You could mark them all after you torque them if you want to. Now slide the shaft back through the hub, get that lined up right there. Then you can line the lower ball joint up as well. Just twist that, just like that. And get the nut started. Now you want to put the bolts, ball joint bolts in. You want to replace these bolts when you're doing this job. I'll snug those up first. Now I'm going to torque these to 15 foot-pounds, and then you want to go an additional 90 degrees. Now lower the sway bar link and put the bolt on. Get that started. And I'm going to torque this bolt to 33 foot-pounds. Now we're going to take the shield, line this up, and put this back. You could take a socket with an extension and just push up on that. That'll help you set that, just like that. And put this screw back in, snug it down. And if you have another panel underneath here, you want to put that on now. Now we're going to tighten the axle nut. Get that started, but don't tighten it too tight. Then you want to put a couple of the lug studs in. We're going to take a pry bar. Just go in between. Prevent the hub from spinning when we tighten this down. Now there's a procedure to tightening this down. The first thing we're going to do is torque the nut to 148 foot-pounds. Now I'm moving the pry bar to the other side, and we're going to loosen the nut half a turn. Now we're going to turn the hub half a turn. We can move these over. Then we'll torque the nut to 50 foot-pounds. And then you're going to go with a torque angle meter an additional 60 degrees. If you don't have a torque angle meter, do the best you can. There we go. And take the studs out. Now put the wheel on, line it up. Take the lug bolt, get that started. And the wheel lock with the key. Just tighten those down. Now we want to torque the lug bolts to 89 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Just go around again, double check. Take the key off, slide the center cap in place. And if you have that little cap, you want to put that on now. After finishing this installation, it's important to have an alignment done on your vehicle.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.